Welcome to episode number 6 of the Dugout Report. I am here with MLB.com Rockies reporter Thomas Harding, and he came on to talk a little about tonight's matchup between the Rockies and the Phillies and the previous game last night. And welcome to the podcast, and glad to have you on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So my first question is, what are your thoughts on the past 2 games against the Phillies?
Well, I don't think that the Rockies can play worse defensively. In fact, I think it's probably the worst 2-game stretch since Bud Black took over as manager in 2017. And you look at it, I mean, Ryan McMahon, who was a guy that was a Gold Glove candidate last year, and you look at the numbers that he put up, the defensive analytics at third base and at second, he really deserves some consideration. He's had 3 errors in the last 2 games. You're just not going to see a lot of that. I thought the first game, I thought in the first game, Kyle Freeland pitched well enough to win it. Mm-hmm. Obviously the runs hurt him. Had there not been so many errors, then he would have had fewer pitches and gotten through there a little bit deeper. And don't forget one play in that game where Randall Grichuk and Charlie Blackmon let a ball fall between them. That was not credited as an error, but 2 runs scored on it. Last night, German Marquez did not pitch very well at all. Couldn't get his fastball where he wanted to. Also, he was leaving some breaking pitches up, and he ends up giving up 7 hits in 3 1/3 innings, or 3 2/3 innings, I should say. But the Rockies also committed a couple of errors behind him in the second inning, and that really put him behind the 8 ball. So the Rockies will have to play better baseball. But if you look at what the Phillies have done, I think that you're starting to see the offense that they expected to have. So hopefully tonight will be a crisper played ball game and an evenly played ball game.
What are your thoughts on the pitching matchup tonight, and what do you think Ranger Suarez will do with the Phillies tonight?
Well, it's pretty clear when Bud Black put out the original lineup, there was only one lefty, Charlie Blackmon, in the lineup. But what happened was Brendan Rodgers, who's been slumping all year, he came down with a back issue. The same thing that happened yesterday with Chris Bryant. So Rodgers isn't in the lineup. So with Rodgers out, Ryan McMahon is back in there. They were going to give him the night off, just have him rest up, kind of get his mind back together, I guess, after a couple of bad games defensively. But I've seen Ryan take some pretty good swings at the bat, and it looks like he should be okay to get back in there. He's a confident guy.
Do you think that Charlie Blackmon will make another impact tonight at the plate with hitting yard?
I'll tell you what, he seems to do it a lot here, doesn't he? I mean,
yeah.
If you see the Rockies coming against the Phillies, maybe you should get a seat in right field, because there's a chance that Charlie Blackmon's going to hit you a baseball. But I think with him, yeah, he'll give you a tough at bat there. But if you look at Ranger Suarez, he's not given up. I think he's only given up like 2 hits to lefties this year and hasn't walked anybody. So it could be tough. Charlie would give you a tough at bat. But remember, it really depends on how well Ranger Suarez pitches. It's a lineup loaded with right-handers. And if they're able to get to him, or at least drive up his pitch count, then they get into the bullpen of the Phillies. And I think that those are the 2 things you're looking at. Can the right-handers do some damage against them, or at least drive up the pitch count?
What are your thoughts on tomorrow's pitching matchup?
Let me take a look here, because I know that Austin Gomber's going for the Rockies, the left-hander, and he pitched very well in Detroit his last time out. So I'm expecting him to continue that. He didn't pitch as well at Coors Field in his first start of the season, but I think that he will be okay. Zach Wheeler, obviously the numbers are not Zach Wheeler-like, and you're expecting him to be healthy, expecting him to get on a roll here. I don't know that he's ready to get rolling yet, but as the season goes on, I think the Phillies have a pretty good pitcher there, a guy that they can that they can depend on a lot in their rotation. So it should be a fun game. Zach Wheeler sitting there at 0-3, 8.53. what about against the Rockies? I think no, it's an 8.53 this season, and I don't know. You just expect better out of it. You really do.
So I know that the Rockies play Cincinnati next. I know Cincinnati isn't the best ball club this year. And what are your expectations in that series?
Well, I think that the Rockies getting back home, this is when they need to continue to establish some home dominance. And frankly, good Rockies teams and bad Rockies teams have played well at Coors Field. And this is an opponent that you obviously want to go against. You want to kind of roll up some wins and just get going against them. The Reds are a strange bunch there, aren't they? I mean, a bunch of trades before the season. This is a team that almost made the playoffs last year, and now they're pretty much in nowheresville, but there's still some good guys there. So the Rockies, this is one that they have to kind of get going at. And they've played pretty well at home this year. And frankly, they played pretty well everywhere with the exception of the last 2 nights and 1 night and 1 day in Detroit.
My last question is, what is your score prediction for tonight?
Score prediction for tonight. You know what? I'm not going to give you a winner, but I'm going to give you a score. How about that? Which is,
Okay.
which make you search for the winner, right? I'm going to say a 4-3 ball game. The reason being is that the last 2 games weren't very well played. Now it is cold out there tonight, and maybe that's had something to do with it. I kind of doubt it because the Rockies play in a pretty cold environment. But I'm going to be expecting a good, crisp baseball game. Maybe I'm not expecting it, but I'm hoping for it.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 5-4 Phillies.
Okay. You can go 5-4 Phillies. I could see that.
Yeah.
4-3. Let's say 4-3 Rockies, just to kind of put us opposite each other.
I'm feeling a Bryce Harper home run tonight.
What's funny, I was expecting it out, and if you go to Twitter, I think it's posted now, and sometimes it takes a while to get through the World Wide Web, but before every game, I pick a player on each team as my pick to click. And Harper is it for the Phillies tonight. The interesting thing is, yeah, it's not the highest batting average in the world right now, but the home runs, the RBIs, they're there. And I think that, and I think you're going to start to see that out of him. I understand there's a little bit of an elbow problem with his throwing, but he's able to do some damage with the bat. So I expect something from him. And I picked Charlie Blackmon, even though it's left on left against a guy who doesn't give up hits to left-handed batters.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And thank you for taking the time. And have a great time. Have a great rest of your time in Philly, and hopefully I'll have you back on.
All right, great. Yeah, I love coming here. Who knows? Maybe with the either expanded playoff or they earn it, there's just a playoff meeting in the future. You know, they've met twice in the playoffs, and both those series have been fun.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.